angels, it's Hailey Reese and happy Wine Wednesday. But I'm really excited about today's video. I actually filmed it yesterday. It was supposed to go up yesterday. I drank the wine for you yesterday. I told a story yesterday, and then my footage just got completely corrupt, which sucks because you know when you tell a story once and it's like you told it perfectly, and then every time you have to retell the story, it gets like less and less interesting to tell. It's not uninteresting to tell right now, but I really gave my all yesterday. But because it was so funny in the video that I told you guys yesterday, or I shared with you yesterday that you haven't heard, I knew that I had to still come on here and share it with you. So, for those of you who are new to this channel, or maybe you've never watched any of my Wine Wednesdays, I know it's Thursday, but you know what I mean. Wine Wednesday is where every single Wednesday, which it will be consistent from this moment on, hold me accountable guys, we sit down and I have a glass of wine, you have a beverage of your choice. If you're of legal age, you share a glass of wine or a adult beverage, and if not, you have whatever makes you happy. And we just talk about whatever it is that we choose to talk about. And today, I am embarrassing myself, you guys. I have 4 stories from when I was a kid to now that are so embarrassing. I cannot believe I'm sharing them with you, but they are so funny. Like, I don't think I'm a comedian, but these stories, whenever I think about them, I can't help but laugh. And everybody that I've told in my life either loves me enough to fake laugh or thinks they're really funny too. So I hope that you guys enjoy these stories. I've chosen to embarrass myself and just hang out with you. And I really want Wine Wednesday to just be us hanging out. I want to take your mind off of everything going on in the world and just hang out with you, drink some wine, and tell you my embarrassing stories. So the way that I decided to format this video is I'm going to tell you guys 2 really funny stories from my childhood. I'm going to tell you a really embarrassing story from when I was a teenager, a very early teenager, and then I'm going to tell you guys a funny story from like not even that long ago, a couple of months ago. And we're just going to hang out, and I hope that I can bring some joy or a smile to your face. So with that being said, I'm going to take a sip of wine and let's get into me as a kid. All right, so let me preface all of this by saying a couple of things about myself. Number 1, I can be number 1, I bought an at-home like shellac, like gel nail polish kit. I bought the light, it's like an LED UV light. I bought the polish, and I did these nails myself, and I'm very impressed by them. But yeah, anyways, number 1, I'm very clumsy. I always have been, I always will be. I will fall, I will spill things, I will trip over myself all day, every day since I was pretty much born. And I'm just an overall clumsy human being. Number 2, I'm very oblivious sometimes. I've had that trait since I was a kid. As much as I'm very alert and I'm very understanding and I pick up on cues quickly, I can also be a little bit oblivious at times, especially when I was younger. So with that being said, let's get into these Hailey stories that are just special. All right, you guys. So the first one is from when I was really little. I can't tell you guys the age because I've tried to remember, but for the life of me, it's all just kind of a blur. But I will let you guys know I was 100% under the age of 10. And interestingly enough, my dad lived in the country and my mom lived in the city. So I kind of had the best of both worlds growing up. With my mom, I was girly. We liked to do our hair, our nails, like all that stuff. But with my dad living in the country, I was and my dad's not a country man either, so to speak, but he lived in the country, therefore my friends lived in the country, and we did a whole bunch of country-ish things. My dad's backyard was a lake, his front yard was a forest, so we would ATV, dirt bike during the day. We'd also go fishing in the early morning, and fishing was one of the things that I really loved to do with my dad and my cousins and just like my friends. It was so much fun for me. That kind of stems from the fact that my grandpa had a boat and fishing was a huge part of his life, so it was just always such a big part of my life and I enjoyed it so much. I was very patient and I just enjoyed every aspect of fishing, which leads me into the fact that being a semi-tomboy, I loved to put the worm on the hook. Now please don't come at me for the whole abuse of putting a worm on a hook. I'm just telling a story from my childhood, but I loved to put the worms on the hook. So I would always be putting worms on the hook. And my male cousins were like, not as used to it. They'd freak out and squeal and squirm about putting the worm on the hook. So naturally, myself enjoying this, I would ask them to give me their worms and their hooks, and I would put their worm on the hook, and that was that. But eventually I started to kind of take advantage of this, you guys. They were always asking me to put the worm on the hook for them, and I kind of felt like it was something that I should be charging them for. So I told my dad I was going to start a business and start charging my cousins and all these boys that were constantly asking me to put the worm on their hooks, like 25 cents a worm or 10 cents a worm, so I could go to the corner store after and buy those 5-cent candies. And my dad made a joke and said, yeah, you can make a business out of it. So me being the little entrepreneur and businesswoman I've always been since I was younger, I thought long and hard while I was sitting there waiting for a fish to bite my hook about what I was going to call this business of mine. And I've always enjoyed writing, you guys. I've always been really into poetry and rhyming and writing in general, hence why I'm so excited that I'm writing a book. And so I was trying to think of like what went really well with my name that also tied in my business and made sense. So naturally, I come up with this brilliant idea, or at least in my mind, it was brilliant. And I was so excited to tell my dad and my cousins and my aunts and uncles, everybody, my new business. So brace yourself, you guys. I decided to tell my cousins that I was now charging 10 cents a worm because I'd open up a business here called Hailey's Happy Hooking, because I am Hailey, the happy hooker. You guys, right away my dad was like, absolutely not. That is not your business name. Hailey, come up with a new one. No way. And me not understanding what I just said, I was so upset, you guys. I told my dad he didn't support my business, that I thought long and hard about this business name, that this was the best business name I could come up with. How dare he not support me? And needless to say, I didn't speak to him for 2 days because he didn't support Hailey's Happy Hooking. Who would have thought? Obviously now, as an adult, I look back and I'm like, you're a good dad. But in the moment, you guys, I couldn't understand because I'm oblivious that Hailey's Happy Hooking and Hailey the Happy Hooker isn't anything that a dad wants to hear from his under 10-year-old daughter. So that is my first story of silly, embarrassing, ridiculous things I did as a kid. This next story has to do with my mom, and this one makes me laugh every single time I think about it, you guys, so hopefully you get a kick out of it too. But my mom, her house had a 1/4 acre backyard, and we had a big playground in the backyard, a trampoline in the backyard, and then during the summer we'd also pitch one of the tents in the backyard, and my friends and I would sleep in the tent overnight, and we'd always hang out in the tent. Like, it was kind of like a clubhouse, so to speak, in the summer. And for those of you who might think that sounds dangerous, I lived in the city with my mom, but it wasn't like Toronto. It wasn't a big city, so it was totally safe to do so. And so one day, my mom and I would get in a really, really big fight, and I'm super young, you guys, still under 10 years old. And I mean, big fight to an under 10-year-old. I'm sure she told me something like I couldn't go out to play until I ate my dinner, or I wasn't allowed to go hang out with so-and-so, like something so silly. And I was just not having it on this day. I was done with it. I was frustrated. So I decided to sit my mom down and explain to her that I would be vacating the premises within 30 minutes. And she's like, what do you mean within 30 minutes? And I explained that I required 30 minutes to run around the house and grab all the things that I would need because I was going to be permanently moving into the backyard tent. I was going to go to school from the tent and go back to my tent, and that tent was going to be my home. But I did need some supplies because the tent wasn't equipped for somebody to live in. And at first, my mom was like, mm-mm. Her favorite thing to tell me when I was growing up, you guys, was, if you're going to leave my house, you're coming out of my world with what you came into the world with, which is a bare bottom, because everything I gave to you. And I didn't think that was very fair. So I explained to her I had 30 minutes to gather all of my belongings and I was moving to the tent. Well, at this point, my mom was humored by it. And so she set a timer. I ran around the house, you guys. I got my blankets, my pillows, sleepy time, my doll, probably some games, books, you know, all those silly things. But then I realized that I needed some supplies. So I went to the kitchen, I grabbed some water bottles, I grabbed my favorite foods, and I headed to my tent. Now, it was the weekend. I didn't have school in the morning. I slept in the tent overnight, which I'd done before. It was like warm out. And then I woke up in the morning and I was hungry. And so I rolled over in my new home that I'm intending to live in for the end of time, or till the end of time. And I realized, hold on, I need a sip of wine for this. My favorite foods at the time were two things: mac and cheese and tuna. Well, I didn't have anything to cook the mac and cheese, and I certainly did not have a can opener for the tuna, so I had to then vacate my tent after one night, head up to the door and explain to my mom, hey, listen, my supplies weren't great, didn't really think this one through, can I move back in? And of course, my mom thought it was funny. She was never gonna let me live out in the tent till the end of time. She just wanted to teach me a lesson on respecting her household, and let me just tell you guys, I did. So this next story gets a little bit older. We're going to my 13th birthday, and I am so embarrassed to tell this story, you guys, because this is where things get embarrassing. Like, this is like, I want you to put yourself into a 13-year-old Hailey's shoes and just imagine what I went through on my 13th birthday. It's actually comical, but my eyes want to water with how stupid it is. So, let me drink some wine. It's the night before my 13th birthday. I like this boy. Let's say this boy is A. His name's not A, I just thought of Pretty Little Liars, but I really like him, you guys. And at the time, my mom had all of this like really high-end snowboarding gear. She had her own boots, her own snowboard, all of her own stuff. Goggles, the whole 9 yards, she had it for snowboarding. And so I'm on MSN Messenger, major throwback to that. And this boy logs on, his little man's screen. So I message him and we start talking and I say how tomorrow's my birthday. Now, please keep in mind, I really liked this boy. I was 12 years old, about to turn 13. I'm thinking he's my soulmate. I'm like writing in my journal, Hailey plus A. And I just like really like him. And so we're talking, we're saying that tomorrow's my birthday. And he proceeds to tell me that him and his best friend are going snowboarding on my birthday. And I was like, oh, no way. I'm like a pro snowboarder. I have all the equipment. Lies, it was my mother. And also, big lie, I was not a pro snowboarder. I'd snowboarded one time prior to this with a couple of my friends on my ringette team. And I didn't know how to stop, but I had good balance. So the whole time I would just fall on my knees every single time to stop. So no, not a pro and did not have my own equipment. However, my mom's equipment did fit me. Moving on. So I tell him I'm a pro. I have all of my own equipment. I'm just trying to impress the guy. And then he proceeds to tell me, well, I'd love to spend your birthday with you. Why don't you come with us and snowboard? Well, now I'm in a little bit of a pickle because not a pro snowboarder. I do have equipment, but not mine. And I have no clue what I'm doing. I fall on my knees to stop. But hey, the boy that I like at almost 13 years old, which is like when you think you found your soulmate, is asking to spend my birthday with me snowboarding. So in my brain, you guys, I think to myself, okay, you know, I can balance all the way down the hill, baby hills, but I wasn't thinking this far. And all I have to do is fall on my knees, so I'll make up some excuse. Maybe he'll try to catch me or save me, you know, and I'll go. So, write him back. I'm like, sounds great. Let me know what time. He tells me the time and the place. I ask my mom if I can use her snowboarding gear and if she can drop me off, and she thought it was super cute, but she thought I was going to be going down baby hill. She doesn't know that I told this guy I'm a pro snowboarder. By the way, I never said I was like a pro snowboarder, but I was like, I'm super good. This is what I do. Winter long snowboarding. Hailey. It was a blatant lie. So the next day comes. It's my birthday, my 13th birthday. We get to the place. He's like, wow, your gear's so cool. Because it was, but remember, it's not my gear, it's my mom's. He goes and runs skier. His friend goes and runs skier. And I'm like, why don't we do like the small hills just like for fun? To warm up. That's what I always do. So we get to the small hills and we're going down them and I balance the whole way down, but these are baby hills. Like, bear in mind, to the right of the hill, there's like instructors teaching little babies like Stormy how to snowboard, and they're doing better than what I could do, but I'm a pro, remember guys. I go down the hill and at the end, I like fall on my knees and he's like, are you good? Like, what's going on? And I was like, oh yeah, something's off today. I just don't feel that well. I don't know why, like my balance on stopping is off, but like that was an awesome run because I went all the way from the top to the bottom. Well, you guys, not even like 10 minutes in, he's like, all right, let's go to like the advanced hill. And in my brain, I'm like, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna do? I cannot snowboard. Guys, I'm so embarrassed telling this story. It just hit me like what I'm admitting. I'm like, I cannot go down the advanced hill. Like, I've never, ever went down the advanced hill. That baby hill was hard for me, but I played it off cool. Like, what am I doing? So we get to the top and him and his friend are like, let's go. And they go down and I'm like, I'll catch up with you guys, 1 sec. And I'm at the top of the hill asking myself, like, do you want to die today? Like, just don't go down the hill. Like, tell him you like him. Tell him you lied because you like him. Don't go down the hill. But then I was like, no. You're in too deep. Go down the hill. So I go down the hill. And for about halfway of the hill, the little like baby part that leads into the big one. Oh, and by the way, there was like warning signs saying like this is for advanced snowboarders or skiers. Like, do not go down this if you don't know what you're doing. Like, go down at your own risk type of deal. But I had to go down for a boy because he was my soulmate. Anyways, I start going down the hill, you guys. The first little bit's all fun and games. We get to the second little bit, it's so bad, I'm going so fast. Remember, I don't know how to stop. I was falling on my knees to stop. I have no clue what I'm doing, and all of a sudden I go flying off of this like ski hill into the forestry area, and I land. Now, I didn't hurt anything when I landed, but I went to go and try to walk to the end of the hill because like I went off to the side and there was still so much more to go. And what I didn't know, because I'm not a snowboarder, was that when you take your boot out of the snowboard when you're not at the end of the thing, your boot's gonna like sink right down into the snow because I was off on the side, like in the forestry area. So my leg sinks all the way down into the snow and I completely get stuck off the side. Off the side of this thing that now this boy and his friend are going up the, oh my God, what are they called? The chairlift in just a few moments. And I see him going up with his friend, but they don't see me. But now I'm stuck on the side of this ski hill with like my boot all the way in the snow. I can't get out. I'm like in a literal bind. And guess what? I see him going back down again with his friend. Not a care in the world of where I am, but hey, soulmates. And I had to be rescued from the workers, from like the savior people at the ski place. I don't know, you guys. I haven't went snowboarding or skiing since. And the best part, you guys, the real kicker of the whole story is that while I'm being rescued by the rescue team of this ski resort, him and his friend are going back up and I hear, wait, is that Hailey? And sure enough, it was. So what did I do when they rescued me and brought me back up? I did what anybody in my position would do. I called my mother, I left, and him and I never spoke again. So, thank God we didn't go to the same school. I look back on that and I think multiple things. Don't tell lies. They will catch up to you. And don't go down giant ski slope hills when you are an amateur for a boy who will ride back up that chairlift and go back down and say, hey, isn't that person? Without any care in the world. Remember that one. This last story, you guys, is really funny to me. Last night when Tyler and I were talking about what I was going to film for Wine Wednesday before I filmed this video the first time, we were reminiscing on this story and we were both actually crying tears of laughter because it was that funny. And I hope that you guys find it as funny too, because I feel like this could be one of those stories that you had to be there in the moment or you had to know my dad. But I also feel like you guys will think it's funny anyways. So, back at the end of October, beginning of November, Tyler and I went on a cruise with my dad and his husband. And Tyler and I had actually gotten the drink package because the guy had convinced me that if you have like a couple of drinks a day, like it wasn't even that many, you already paid for your package. So it just made more sense. I don't know, I'm a sucker for a good deal. I'm a shopaholic. And I was like, you know what? We have a lot of at-sea days. So if we have a mimosa in the morning and then, you know, later in the afternoon we have a drink and then at the show or dinner we have like 2 or 3, it'll be our drink package. We're on vacation, whatever. But this day in particular, we hadn't had any drinks because we docked and we went off. We were adventuring all day and we'd just gotten back to the ship. So Tyler and I went to go shower, get changed, get ready, and my dad went down to have like a couple beers, just hanging out by the hot tub, reading. And we were set to meet my dad at the like live show in the theater at like 7 p.m. So I hadn't had any drinks yet. We head down. I need to preface this story by telling you guys my dad's nickname for me, or else none of this will make any sense. I just realized, and you guys need to know his nickname for me. So when I was a kid, my dad would always say, you silly goose, like, you're so silly goose. And eventually he started calling me Goose. So to this day, He'll text me, hey Goose, hope you're doing well, or hey Goose, so proud of you, saw your video, like things like that. He calls me Goose, but normally not in front of people, but we're getting there. So we're set to meet my dad. He's had like maybe 2 beers. We head down to the theater. Tyler and I grab a drink before heading into the theater. We're having a drink. We watch this hilarious live show where they pull down couples and the couples have like their ears covered and they answer different questions. It was so funny. I can't remember the name of it, but it was hilarious, you guys. The show ends, and might I add, I'm wearing like this really nice dress, and I always put shorts under my dress because I'm clumsy, like I gave you guys the disclaimer at the beginning, and I'm trying to be all elegant. I'm wearing like strappy heels, you know, the full vacation elegance mode. And we go to leave, and I'm kind of near the top of this auditorium that, by the way, is filled with people. So I need to put my wine between my legs to show you guys this. When I'm going down the stairs, the step was like, let's say this is the step. They had little metal covers like this on the edges of the step. And one of them was raised like this. And I had a strappy heel. So me being clumsy and, of course, hitting that, my strappy heel caught it. And I went, you guys, no exaggeration, from the top of the stairs to the bottom of the stairs head first. I nearly took out a couple of elderly couples. I went all the way down. My dress, which I was wearing shorts, was basically over my head. And my dad starts yelling from the top of the auditorium that is filled with people that are now looking, because I just went woof down all the stairs. Goose! Goose, are you okay? And he's kind of like not pushing people, but pushing through people. Goose! Running to the bottom of the stairs. So not only did I fall from the top of the auditorium down to the bottom, I was taking out a couple of beautiful elderly couples. My father's drawing more attention, screaming, Goose! Goose, are you okay? And he's running down, and I'm like, I'm fine, I'm fine. And you guys, I was so embarrassed in the moment that I could have broken my ankle and I would have been like, I'm fine, like, it's fine. And then my dad proceeds, while I'm trying to play it cool, like, it's fine, like, nobody worry, to go to the, like, director and say, that staircase is so dangerous. My daughter just fell from the top to the bottom. What if that was somebody older? Which is true. It really was a dangerous step. But for the next, like, 2 hours, every time people saw me, they'd be like, that was quite a fall. Are you okay? Your dad looked like he really cares. Like, he's such a sweet man. And I'm thinking, not only did I fall in front of all these people from the top to the bottom, not only was my dress over my head, thank goodness I was wearing shorts, but everybody knows that I'm Goose, which I own. I'm not embarrassed of, but it was just one of those situations where I was so embarrassed. My knee had such a bruise, you guys. I actually tweeted about it because it was so embarrassing. And I love my dad so much, and I love Tyler so much. They were so worried, but like the whole crowd was crowding me, and I was so embarrassed. I just wanted to like crawl into a hole. And there you guys have it. Some funny / really embarrassing stories of my life over a glass of wine. I hope that at least one of them brought a smile to your face today. I hope that you can laugh at my clumsiness, my stupidity, my silly childhood self, and I hope that this brought you some sort of joy today. I love you all so much, and I just want to hang out during this dark time, so I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. What are some silly or embarrassing things you're willing to share about your life? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know which story was your favorite. I don't know. If you guys want me to do more videos like this, trust me, I have 50 million of them. My life is like just a book of me embarrassing myself. So let me know in the comments below. And that is it for today's video. I have a big swig to say cheers, babies, so give me a moment. And until next time, cheers, babies.